reflect the global trend, wherein only 14.2% of the world's members of parliament are under 40 years old. With African countries on track to account for half of the world's population growth and an exponential increase in the number of young people, the number of young parliamentarians should be higher. And you're telling me no.
No.
And I was like, why not? Because how should we make Africa and redefine Africa? Because we've been westernized so much, right? And we need young people in these seats.
Oh yeah.
Because obviously they can see how Africa can become a better country in regards to growing and understanding who we are from our roots. And you're telling me, no, we don't need the young people in those seats because the older guys in the seats have more experience, and I understand that. But I believe we can be mentored in regards to what we've not experienced.
Yeah. So the reason I bet to differ in the kind of way I
Right.
put it is looking at the problem from a different place. I think the problem is not really about age.
Okay.
It's not really an issue of how old or how young you are.
Mhm.
Should there be younger people in places? Yeah, but
Yeah.
there is a certain suffix to it which you don't add. It's competent and patriotic.
Right.
I do have someone I love so much, Professor P.L.O. Lumumba.
Right.
Someone I really revere and I look up to in a lot of different kind of ways.
Right.
So if he was to be made president of, say, my country,
Right.
Cameroon, hopefully.
Hopefully.
He's Kenyan. Yeah, but I do love him. Shout
Okay.
out to Professor P.L.O. Lumumba.
Hey.
You're inspiring us.
Mhm.
I think even though I'm much younger than him, I wouldn't take that position because I'm not as competent as him based
Right.
on the knowledge he has.
Right.
And there's a certain thing we need to understand. If you look at things like car companies,
Mhm.
car companies release new cars every year.
Right.
Yeah, but you will never see a car company release a very radical car. They kind of release like a small variation of the previous car.
Right.
So if you look at 2015 to 2016 version, they have some similarities. So we can think about getting away all the old system as a way to go, but that's not how change works.
Mhm.
Change works in the smallest of ways. And why I bring that up is because culturally as African, we have learned to deal with older people as our leaders.
That's true.
It makes us more comfortable.
Right.
It makes us listen to them.
Mhm.
But now the problem is we got puppets
Mhm.
and people who have no love for their country,
Right.
no love for their people. We have these people ruling in places they shouldn't be, as I'll say.
Right.
So that is the problem. The problem is not an age issue. The problem is a patriotic issue.
Right.
And do you really love your people? And are you okay putting your head on the line for your people?
But
That's-
still, I agree with you on that. But still, don't you think we need more people, young people who are woke, to basically be in such position in the government? Why not? And with this, the other younger people who are still learning who they are in regards to their identity
Okay.
will definitely follow that train.
Okay, so I'll tell you something very funny.
Right.
Which is very interesting. So Africa got its independence. Africa got its pseudo semi-independence in the 1960s. So brushstroke of that came from the 59s,
Right.
60 like Kenya, 61 for Cameroon,
Right.
I think 60 for Nigeria,
Right.
Ghana too should be same around the 60s. We all got our independence around those lines from, and the people fighting for us were really young people.
Right.
Yeah, the Lumumbas, the Sankaras,
Yeah.
there was a really young people. But what happened along the line?
Mhm.
Take for example Cameroon, Mr. Paul Biya. Mr. Paul Biya came into public service when he was 27.
Right.
Became president when he was 30 something or no 40 something around that range, right?
Yeah.
A young president with young ideas, right? You will
Yeah.
say,
Of course,
right?
yeah.
How did it end up? A crazy experiment, a very bad experiment.
Mm.
No. You tell me that because he was their puppet from the beginning. So it wasn't about them being young or old like you're talking about. He was all Africa. These people have always been designed as puppets. The Europeans have always
Right.
installed them in the country through their bidding to make sure Africa resources go to benefit European power. All embassies throughout Africa have CIA attendants already in to make sure that any of these African leaders go off script. That's going to be the end of them. So that's why you have them for 70 past 40 years. The Paul Bear, 45. How many crazy years they do? They groom their puppets to make sure that they do not benefit the African people. Sadly enough, I disagree. I don't think Lumumba's smart enough to be any kind of leader. He's more of a good speech giver. I don't think he's. I don't. Africans get caught in good people to give good speeches.
Right.
And being a leader is more than a good speech because he's never put his neck out there. You know, he's not like the real Lumumba or a Malcolm X type or Marcus Garvey. He just gives good speeches. He doesn't want to offend the people he's talking about. He knows he don't ever mention any of these people by name that they're no good. He gives them praise. He knows all of them are rotten. All of them are puppets. He doesn't say it. So I don't see him as a leader. See him as a guy that gives a good speech. A leader, no.
Yeah, which I really accept with you, but the whole thing was the preface of the conversation, which was an issue of age.
Yeah.
You don't need to be old enough or young enough to be patriotic, and to put your neck on the line for your people, because in Africa, for Africa to truly be Africa, you have to literally put your neck, your neck on the line. So we kind of bring down the whole prefix to just being an age issue. Doesn't really make any make any sense.
You know what it is? Yeah. You know what it is? I'm gonna tell you what it is. Because the youth cause revolution, old people don't.
Yeah.
Youth are the ones with new ideals, old people don't.
Yeah, but
the youth are the ones that cause change.
Yeah.
So the only reason why you got change in the 60s is because the youth that were fomenting revolution in these countries. Not the old people, it was the youth. Now some of course got co-opted, sadly enough, I do agree with that. But youth, nobody's scared of old people. It's just not. It's the youth. That's why they're trying to use soft power in Africa now to herd the youth, because the youth population in Africa is exploding, and they're scared to death of that. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, which you and I do accept. I do agree with you. I do agree with you on that point.
Right.
The reason why I address this point very quite vehemently, it's the fanfare which we do get when we get young African presidents without a manifesto. As long as it's young, we think the manifesto is right. Happened to us in Cameroon with a puppet called Cabral Libri, which was a young guy, and he took away the votes for whatever they used and gave it to the old guy. So I think that we should stop looking between the lines. If we have a leader,
I agree with you there.
If we have a leader who can kind of bring the youths together and whatever, we have the power. True, he wouldn't fight, but he can direct the fight.
Right.
So I wouldn't dismiss someone because he's old, but
or young.
Yeah. I wouldn't dismiss it, but I want someone who loves the country and can put their neck on the line for the country.
Right.
Exactly. You're talking about that's patriotic.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Actually cares about the people.
Yes.
See, what they're doing now in Uganda, what they're doing in Uganda right now, they're setting up young puppet, Bobby Wine. They're setting up the young new puppet in Uganda, right, where the people are going crazy because they're ignorant, not knowing that Bobby Wine is the next puppet. They're not going to let Museveni's son get in power. When they get done with him, they're going to put Bobby Wine in there because he has a level of backing by the youth. Or too ignorant to know he's the next puppet in waiting. So it's going to be the old boss, same as the new boss situation. So that you're right. So it's not about just being youthful. So I agree with you there, because Bobby Wine is the heir apparent in Uganda. He's the new puppet.
Yeah. So the thing about the thing which I really do accept with you, and I agree. The thing about the whole puppeting thing, I think to a certain extent it's us Africans crying victims. Back and back again, because there are some other strings that do attach to these puppets, and one of these strings, like take for the case of Nigeria, with Tinubu being voted, he was voted along tribal lines. Ronu, whatever that Yoruba thing, whatever that thing was, he was voted along those lines. So as we try to look at it as a minimalistic issue and try to put the whole blame on the Western structure or whatever you call it, trying to put puppets on us, we do have a very big share, very big share of the blame. Because if we do revolt and say like, no, we don't want these people, there is no amount of ropes that is going to tie a puppet to that seat. Yeah, but we have been trained, like in the previous show which is going on, which I really liked it, we have been trained to think we are different. And once people are different, it's very easy to separate them. If oil doesn't mix with water, all you need to do is get a glass. You don't need any amount of science in it. Put it in a glass, it will separate themselves, and you can just come in the middle and do what you want to do.
I agree with you on that. but I'm still rooting for like the young people who are woke and they're basically doing great thing in the social section. I'm gonna read like another part that explained that young leaders are poised to take hold of powerful organization, institution, and group because they have already led change at the social level. Why don't we have mentors, the leaders that you're talking about, that they have experience to basically mentor the ones who are really motivated about change and they're very patriotic to basically be in such position, and also they can be like a mirror to the young like African generation who are basically suffering from identity crisis, and with that they can be able to see themselves from that position in regards to like who they are, what they can do for their country, and basically be united. Because we were talking about how I feel like this generation we're not tribalistic, and you're saying no.
No, I think we are more tribalistic than the previous generation.
Yeah.
The thing is, we just live. We have let we don't talk about it as much as we would like to talk about it, like our parents. Our parents were very vocal about it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the case of my experience in living in the beautiful country of Kenya.
Right.
Me being a foreigner, yeah, I already know like literally all the tribes because of how much tribalism is out there. My age people, some are Kikuyu, some are Luo, some are gonna vote for Raila, and some vote for Ruto, and some are hoping the next is this. It's all around tribal lines, and no matter how much we try to dismiss the issue instead of attacking the issue, these issues exist. Are we tribalistic? Yes, yes, we are. How is it evident? Very, very evident. Evident in every election that has gone across Africa recently. Right. The biggest of all being Nigeria. Senegal is a special case, and which I very much more commend. Okay. Just to see how it starts. Like you said in the previous show, we'll wait to see if he's gonna join the Sahel movement. Yeah. If he doesn't, then he's just another what do you call Sissoko Mobutu brought to us. Hopefully he isn't. Hopefully he doesn't fall for the Western tricks, which I can assure you there'll be lots of Western tricks. Right. But the whole thing, like I said, is we are not less. We know like we are less tribalistic. We are, but we just don't talk about it. But when push comes to shove, we show people who we really are.
But it starts with you and I, Laslie.
True.
The fact that you can feel how you can be impactful in whatever department that you are in, and I can be impactful in whatever department you're in, to basically voice out the identity and our roots as Africans, right? What do you think about that? That's my thinking about the whole conversation about this.
I think it's really good, but it's kind of a utopic view. The view that it's kind of like kumbaya, hold my hands, let's sing, and the country is gonna change. Right. It doesn't happen. It doesn't really happen. It doesn't really happen that way. Can one person be a proponent for change? Yes, I do agree. But it doesn't really start between you and I. It starts from something very, very, very bigger than you and I. And it starts from what I told you in our previous conversation, education. Right. It starts from what are we taught? What are we taught as a people? As long as those things don't change.
It's education.
As long as those things don't change, there's nothing we can do about it. If you still believe Livingstone discovered the Victoria Falls while my grandfather was fishing on it, then don't think don't ever think what you and I do is gonna change a thing. It's not gonna change a thing.
It's a start though. It is a start.
Yeah, a start to what? Like I hate to be utopic. I hate to be utopic. I like to be realistic. A start to what? A start to what?
I don't want to interrupt the brother, but if we say this quick, that's why I built Black Hot Fire.
Yes.
I built it to independently own and to try to understand the tribal divide, what he's talking about. Right. Because growing up as an African American, my first trip to Africa, I was living in Japan at the time. I said, well, let me go to Africa and see what the white man told me is even real. Yep. So I journeyed through Africa to Ethiopia, Ghana, Nigeria, South Africa, Tanzania, Kenya, at that time, and also Namibia. I didn't know anything about tribes growing up in America, because they took us as slaves from the Cameroon, from Kenya, from Congo, from Uganda, from everywhere. So we had to get rid of the tribal identity. Yeah. That was squashed. We had to get rid of that. So when I first got to Ghana, they would ask me, hey brother, what tribe are you from? I was like, tribe? What the hell are you talking about? Tribe what? I'm African. But tribe was, I don't got those tribes. What are you talking? See, I didn't know then how prevalent it even was, because Understand America, they didn't even teach us about no tribes. We lost all that. We couldn't be tribes. We had to come together as one Africa. One African. So for us, see, trying to learn about, like he's telling the truth, see, the divide that we have, the Africans thinking themselves as tribes first. Not a nation, not a people, but tribes.
Not a people.
I didn't understand that. In America, we think of ourselves as black, as African first. Black first. That's why we've been able to really do more revolutions than the Africans. Because we had people come from Congo, Angola, Mozambique, everywhere. So we didn't know none of that. We just became one black people. Okay? So we believe in one. So for us, it was black first, African first. What about any goofy tribe? So when I got to Ghana, they kept asking about this tribal shit. I was like, what? I don't got no tribe. Brother, you don't know your people? You don't know your people? You are my people. I'm African. I went to Nigeria. Same shit. What tribe are you from?
Yeah.
You don't know your tribe?
Yeah.
You don't know your tribe?
Yeah.
You know what people you come from? I come from you. I'm African.
Right.
No, your tribe. No, your tribe, brother.
Yeah.
What is your tribe? I said, I don't got no damn tribe. You know that your people. Go ahead, let him go. Go ahead, brother, go. You got it. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think that's one of the best things. I was lucky in my life.
Right.
I came from a tribe of people who are known to kill a lot of firstborns through witchcraft. So my father escaped to the city when he was quite young after his father died mysteriously, and then he grew me up and told me like, okay, you know what, you this is who you are, this is your family, this is where this city I brought you to, this is who you are. So I grew up in a metropolitan place, not really thinking about tribes. So I used to discard a lot of tribalism because I couldn't manifest it myself. I didn't think it was so much of an issue.
Yeah.
And then I grew up and I found out like, yeah, it's the biggest issue we do have in Africa. And it's so funny when it comes to tribes. I was having this conversation with you, Ella, and I was saying the funniest thing I've seen when I was buying this Maasai shukra.
Yeah.
I was saying the funniest thing I was saying is a Maasai in Kenya thinking is different from a Maasai in Tanzania.
Yeah.
Because it's they live across the lines. Literally, they go across the border to buy from a market in Tanzania, and the Tanzanians come across to buy some certain things in Kenya, and all of a sudden they think they are two different people, and they do hate themselves, and they fight over it, and the moment we start addressing this issue by, first of all, not stigmatizing it, we don't have to stigmatize tribalism. We have to accept we are tribalist by nature or by education, and then we start working our way back from that place we are. But the only problem, which the difference between you and our approach is, you want us to hold hands and sing Kumbaya Malo. We are no longer
because it's possible. From my perspective, I feel like this generation we can really be united. Honestly, we can. But it's the lack of mentors.
The tribal thing destroys us. It destroys you because see, white people don't work as tribes. You know, they were tribes thousands of years ago. They don't work that way for power. Even the Chinese, everybody think the Chinese are one tribe. They're not. They were different tribes at one time too. They had to unite. If you're gonna get any power and not be exploited, the tribal shit's gotta go. It's gotta go. Even though Kagame is a despot, he realized, hey, you can't be no tribe in Rwanda no more.
Yes.
You just want these. You ain't no tribe no more. We can't allow that. So as education, that's got to be educated in African people. This tribal shit has got to go because it allows Africans to be exploited.
Right.
If I see a brother from Cameroon getting exploited, I say, oh, it ain't got to do with me. He's a different tribe. What do I care if they exploit his ass? But if I have an African consciousness, I know he's me. I can't allow, and so he's my brother, so I have to defend him because he's me. So you must have an Pan-African consciousness that basically that's got to be taught in the school. This tribal shit, they've only allowed it to go on because it benefits the people that these puppets. Me to have my country ignorant and tribal benefits the ruling class in Africa. Not a benefit to Africa as a whole. As I told you, I've been throughout Africa. It is detriment to us as a people. You know, because when I was in South Africa, the xenophobic is so crazy. And they don't get mad at me because I'm African American. But the xenophobia to other Africans, yeah, I'm keeping it real. I told you, freedom, I'm keeping it real. But I get to South Africa, I get nothing but love.
Right.
Hey, brother, I'm everybody's brother. Hey, brother.
Yeah. I think.
Welcome home.
I think.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that I think instead of fighting tribes, like I said, I've always had a kind of a different approach to it. I think people only care about food when they are hungry. So yeah, if we're gonna care about the share of food our tribe is getting, is because we don't have enough to share. And if you go to, like, if you want to test my thesis, go to like international schools, international private schools, and see the way the kids integrate with each other and the way they grew up to be very friends, and then they go across these tribal lines. It's because they have enough to eat. And as long as we have not addressed the issue, first of all, which is poverty, in poverty, in scarcity there is fight. In fullness there is sharing.
So true.
You really think the Europeans are not tribal? They are very tribal. They are very tribal. They fought in the World War and they divided themselves. They knew I was Polish.
Yeah,
they knew it's because they have food.
But
they have
it's true that they have tribal. No, they're not. They're tribal. Listen, as white power, white supremacists, they unite against everybody else first. And their tribal once they got power on the planet, they'll fight amongst themselves who's going to actually be on top of the power pyramid. But as far as them being tribal against when it comes to other people, no, Europeans are very united. Very united when it comes to other people. They're only tribal when they finally got power. When they got power, they say, okay, now we're going to see who's going to sit on top of this mountain. Is it going to be the British? Is it going to be the... Because you understand, they're all Germanic. The Africans are very poorly educated. Let me explain something to you guys. All white people are German. They're Germanic people. The Italians are German. The Spanish are German. The French are German. The British are German. The Dutch are German. See, the Russians are German. These are all Germanic tribes. So understand, most people, most Africans don't even know that all these people you think are different white people, they're not. They're from Germanic tribes. Every last one of them. France is a derivative of German. English is a derivative of German. Dutch is a derivative of German. Spanish, all that shit are Germanic people. So they know, don't think they don't know their history. They know that. Most Africans don't know. When you look at a white person, you're looking at a German. I don't care if he's speaking English, Spanish, French, Dutch, he's German. So, they don't fight until they get on top of the pile. And the reason why they fought World War I, World War II, understand, family, that was over Africa. Who's going to control Africa? That's what's in it. I'm going to give you a history that your books are not. The reason they fought World War I and World War II was because of Africa. In World War I, the Germans were mad. The ones that called themselves actual Germans were mad at the other Germans that they didn't get a bigger piece of the pie in Africa. They felt the French got more, and they felt the British got more. So they went to war over that. Then, when Germany lost, they got all their African colonies taken away from them. Tanzania, which was Tanganyika, Namibia, and the other colonies they had. They got them taken away. So Hitler said, okay, damn that, if you took away most of my colonies in Africa, I'm going to run the table in Europe and take all of Europe then. That's what I'm going to do, because you took the resources in Africa. So you never taught that. Those wars are because of Africa. So it wasn't about them just being tribal. It's about them, who's going to be the one exploiting Africa? Who's going to sit on the top of the table? Me or you? That's what these wars, so it wasn't about them just being tribal. It's about who's going to control these resources that finally made Europe rich. Europe has always been impoverished, poor, backwards. Most Africans don't know that. So they got Africa, they've all become what? Wealthy. And not willing to give up that wealth of Africa because it's pulling them out of poverty. It's put Africans in poverty now, but it's pulled Europe out of poverty. And now it's even pulling what? Asia out of poverty. Go ahead, guys.
Yeah, it is. So, like, I said tribalism plays a part, and he just cleared it
Yeah.
and said it's a bigger issue than we think.
Yeah.
And it's a mentality issue, and we need to go to the root of everything.
Yeah.
To kind of like go to like where did we get it wrong?
Right.
Stop playing victim. Stop
Right.
saying that, oh, it's because the European did this to us. It's because we are here now. Okay, this is where we are. How do we go forward? What is the framework? What do we do from this position we are? We don't stay crying.
Right.
We don't stay crying and waiting for now. Our new source of solution has been for us to pray about it, and we don't stay crying and praying and hoping for a solution. We get down and put our hands to work, and we can
So
build
you're
Africa.
basically supporting him in regards to like coming in together as youth, as a young people, and that's why, as Keith said, that's why he's open. We have this network. That's why you have your podcast, Stay Motivated,
Yeah.
to be your voice. That's why I have my podcast, Self-Worth Redefined, redefining yourself in your identity, and that's why we have this Let's Pop, redefining Africa, and basically understanding our roots and what we are and what we can do. So I'm still learning for the young people because I know. I didn't know much about this before I came here, right? And now I'm learning about it and I'm sharing it in my podcast and the people know, and it's mind-blowing. The fact that young people out there are ignorant about the identity and what's going on, it's sad because we've been westernized, or in regards to, there's so much distraction on what's going on social media in regards to what we should basically know about what's really going on, because we are basically creating, or the next generation is coming up, but what are they learning? Will they be learning the same thing as what we are learning? So we're very ignorant and blindsided to what's really happening in the government sector, in the social and economic sector.
Okay, so the first thing is education is no longer in schools.
Right.
Africa needs to understand education is on TikTok.
Yeah.
Everything we know now on how our society is going to be shaped is based on how social media is gonna direct the society.
It's so true.
And it's a double-edged sword. On one way, it's the ease of which we can get education or the message to the deeper parts of Africa and the other people is easier. But at the same time, it also is a very good tool for the enemy, if I should say in quotes, to get the wrong message to
manipulation.
Yeah, to our people. You understand?
Yeah.
So Africa, as a youth, I do understand we need to come together and face these issues. True, but I just don't agree on a lot of the methodologies which we are doing. I think a lot of methodologies we are doing is still not realistic and not actual in the way things should be done.
Right.
But I do accept we should come
Well,
together.
you can't just say on social media. Social media is not real.
Yeah,
You gotta get on the ground.
Yeah,
That means you must build organization.
Yeah.
Only through organizations can you build change.
Right.
Organizations build institutions. So you have to come together and build organization. So you can't come together just to scream in the street.
Yeah.
That does nothing.
Yeah.
You can't, let's all come together and protest.
Okay, yeah.
Protesting does nothing. You must build organization.
Yeah,
Right.
so the reason, maybe I didn't say correctly. I'll tell you something that happened after World War II. After World War II, what happened to the Jews? As you said, they said never again.
Yeah.
And never again didn't mean never will happen again. It means never again. They had to build a framework which is gonna build.
That's a lie.
That's gonna
That's
be.
a lie.
Let me keep
I'm about to
talking.
hurt this friend. That's a lie.
Yeah, okay, which is never
That's a lie.
again. Never again meant they're gonna build a framework which is gonna keep the people safe. And what did that mean? That means they built stronger institutions between themselves. They infiltrated foreign governments. They instituted policy makers. Yeah, you can go on.
See, now I love his brother. See, this is the miseducation of the Negro. That's what he's saying is a lie. He doesn't know it. He's giving propaganda. They already have strong institutions. Who do you think owns the banks on the planet? I'm going to tell you, those people that started the war. Wait, let me finish. Those people. And I got to do it coded because we're on YouTube.
Right.
If it was on the radio, I would go deep into it.
Right.
Yeah.
Those people, the stories you're told are lies. That's why they're allowed right now to bomb Gaza and nothing's happening to them. The story you told about the Holocaust is complete baloney. And man, on a whole level. What do you think owns the IMF? The world, these are not government banks. IMF, World Bank, Bank of International Settlements, and the Federal Reserve Bank in America. Those same people that supposedly got murdered in the Holocaust. They own those banks. So the institutions already existed. So explain how do you get a whole people who get to go into another country and steal it from another people. They stole what you call Palestine from those other, and those are invaders too. Those other white people called Palestine, those are not Palestinians, family. The original Africans that are still there are the original Palestinians. Those other white people are Turks, and also coming out the Asian steppes who invaded Northeast Africa. Okay? So, what he's saying, you can understand, what is up, Ewoton?
Mm-hmm.
Say, what year was the Balfour Declaration? What year? Say Balfour. B-E-L-F-O-R-D. Balfour Declaration. So I'm gonna teach him something about Israel, so he doesn't know these things. This is the miseducation Africans have gotten.
What year?
What year was the Balfour Declaration?
Was the what?
Balfour. Balfour. B-E-L-F-O-R-D.
B-E-L?
F-O-R-D.
Oh, okay.
Who signed that? Now, by term is institution, but he got propaganda. You're seeing his little Rothschild, the Jewish Rothschild.
Yeah.
Who created Israel. They own it. They own the banks.
Yeah.
These are people that own the IMF, the World Bank, the Bank of International Settlements, and the Federal Reserve Bank in America. They own these banks. So it wasn't about them. So the idea that they got crushed, that's a lie. The bankers funded the war. They created Hitler. They funded war.
Yeah.
Without banks, you can't have war. So these are the bankers. I want you to understand. You're going to see that little Rothschild was given Israel. See it?
Yeah.
Don't say Lord Rothschild.
Yeah, I do.
So wasn't it?
I do accept.
So wasn't that the Jews? They came out. Oh, they was all bad. That's all baloney. They own everything. They own the media. So they have that fake ass story.
Okay, so I do accept a lot of what you say. Do I get to the details of the issues of what truly happened? I don't know, but the moral I was trying to say is we as Africans, we can draw lessons from that and build from whatever travesty we've been through, but it's not exactly what we are doing. We have to be accountable. We have to be accountable. We have to be accountable. The problem with Africans is we are so accustomed to outsourcing our problems and blaming other people other than us. The problem is us. That's the truth.
Yeah, part of it. No, but you've been culturally programmed. The problem is you. You got to understand the problems that's happening in Africa right now, not from Africans. These jihadists, these are the people that own the banks. What you see right now is the CIA and the Mossad. Israel is all throughout Africa. Africans don't even know it. All throughout Africa causing havoc. They're responsible for the apartheid in South Africa. They're responsible for what's happening in the Congo. But you don't know this.
No, I do.
They're responsible.
I do understand all the coups in Africa.
I'm not talking about you. I'm about the African.
Yeah.
They understand. They want to say, oh, these people have been downtrodden on. That's a lie.
Yeah, but one thing.
Bullshit.
One thing we need to admit is we are also complicit to this. We are, because the person that got food, we kept on supporting the person. The person who came into contracts and truces with the colonizer, if you put it that way, was actually our own brother, and we kept supporting our brother. You hear a president has stolen $50 billion and looted it to Switzerland. What do? You vote him in the next election. You actually do. Let's say votes don't work, but you actually voted for him because the other person was not into place.
So you basically say that
I'm a living proof to this, because I grew up in Cameroon. I grew up in a place where we've seen a president that loots everything and anything that moves. And it's true, he's being supported by France. That's true. Do we keep blaming France, or do we blame the people who kept him in power?
But the people, okay, hold on. The people are not keeping him in power.
We did.
France is a direct derivative again of those same people. Like Macron, pull this up. I want to understand who's actually the power behind the throne.
Okay.
Pull this up. It's not even France. Pull this up. Say, was President Macron a Rothschild banker? Was the president of France a Rothschild banker? You don't know who actually runs Europe. It ain't no damn France and England.
Yeah, but
There ain't none of them.
Yeah,
Yeah, people
but-
own these banks, and they put these people in power because they have clandestine agencies all throughout Africa, known as the CIA, the Mossad, and MI6. So it's not like none of these elections you saying they put those elections have been rigged. Those elections are all phony. Every election in Africa is phony.
No, no.
Repeat
I
that
can tell you.
again.
I can tell you that elections in Cameroon are rigged, but I can also tell you a lot of people vote for Mr. Paul Biya. I can assure you that.
I'm not saying I'm not saying a lot, but I
I
don't
do. No,
believe the
he does.
majority
I
is.
grew up in it, and I saw people voting, and I know people who were young and they left proudly voting for Mr. Paul Biya.
I believe that, but what that's called propaganda. They own all the media, so it's Paul Beer, yeah. Paul Beer, it's hard to go past the propaganda when you're not educated to understand what propaganda is.
This is the
Did you
problem.
find it here, Tom?
This is a
Yeah.
problem. This is a problem with Africa. Africans, and accountability is our kryptonite.
But we can accept it. And basically-
We played like our conversation earlier today. I told you that.
Right.
I told you the youth. Faye left president to 1 week to become president in Senegal. 1 week he had no campaign. That's a true opposition. No opposition in Africa is free. If there's any opposition walking around free, it's not an opposition. There is none.
Right.
Yeah, so if you start telling me about people who are in government, driving around in Prados and enjoying the luxuries and the freedom of everything, you're not in opposition.
Right.
You're just a paid actor in that stage, paid
Right.
to play the game, paid to make the game seem like it's not rigged,
Mhm.
but it's rigged in each and every way you may think about it.
Right.
These people have meetings at night that they go and share money, and you have nothing to do with it as a citizen, and you keep supporting them, thinking they are oppositions. No, they are not. They are all
Right.
friends.
Right.
They are all friends with pacts.
So you say we need a redefined nation
Yes.
and the mentors that we're looking up to.
Yeah, we do in a lot of cases. For me, the first case will be what I can talk about, which I know is technology.
Yeah.
Yeah. So about one thing, which is very very fun. Like in the field where I'm from, most of the companies that do get funding, most of the companies that do get funding
Yeah.
have one very thing in common. They have a white co-founder.
Okay. Why co-founder?
Yes, they have a white co-founder.
Mhm.
If you look at most of the companies that do that, they do have a white co-founder,
Right.
or they have a white person. They have a white person,
Right.
or they have a white person on the board. You understand? So even when we get into positions of power, when these young people get into position of power, we easily get corrupted. So there is something which I don't know about the African man, and which is
Right.
very interesting. The moment he says something, and then the money comes,
Yeah.
everything
Okay, I'm gonna write for
changes.
that because that happens. Yeah.
So I don't think young people, like I still beg to disagree. I think we need people who are pissed, people who are angry, people who hate,
Right.
people who hate how we exist, people who understand that there is no place in Africa that is developed. Like I was talking to I realized what's her name?
Joby?
I remember Jovi in the previous show was
Yeah.
saying I will not be Nigerian and Rwandan and whatever, and I just said, oh, you're not different from them.
Right.
Because if you and I walked into an airport and before you show your Kenyan passport, you'd be treated as a Nigerian, or you'd be
Right.
treated as an African,
Right.
or a monkey from the zoo.
Right.
If you and I went to the USA, we'll be put on separate lines as we walk towards the immigration.
Right.
This is all our racism. If you and I flew into the Heathrow airport,
Yeah.
I'll be singled out to be checked for drugs.
Mm.
It is what it is. It doesn't matter where you're coming from. So until we see our problems as a collective problem,
Right.
we are not going to solve. We're not going to have solutions for this.
All right. We're gonna go into the comments, and if you have any comments, you can just
Yeah, comments on
drop it in.
YouTube?
Yeah, on YouTube we have. Is it Jiva Java? Is
Yeah.
that the name? Jiva Java 809 or Jaiba Jova? Hi family. Never again means to guilt the world into compliance. Hitler's real name is Shakil Gruber. Shakil Gruber. He was born as a small heart. Sure is. Okay. Start a conversation about them. The internet gets catchy. I got cut off. Oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
Yeah. How does the guest feel about tribalism? I think he talked about that.
Oh yeah, I
You can
did.
just
I did.
mention
I
that a
did.
bit. Yeah.
I myself am not tribalistic, but I do understand the power of tribalism in the community.
Yeah.
I know it's the biggest problem we have.
Mm.
We have in Africa.
But not in our generation that much. Honestly, like
It is.
honestly, I don't see it.
It is. Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Which is gonna be very, 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 very politically incorrect.
Oh my gosh.
If I asked you which tribe in Kenya is most likely to be the security guard, what would you tell me? I'm waiting.
Obviously, I do not know.
You do know.
No.
You do know.
I feel like if you need a job and I feel like that really works for you, you go for it. Honestly.
Kumbaya. I call that a kumbaya
no,
approach.
I mean that.
Have you watched? Have you watched Zootopia?
Utopia.
Zootopia. The animals can all live together. Have
Yeah.
you watched that? Have you watched that thing? That's the
Zootopia.
approach you have. Thinking one day the lion is gonna be
I have
friends with
faith.
it. Yeah, you do. You
I do have faith.
But your faith must be backed by faith in itself.
By facts.
Faith in itself meets work.
I agree.
Faith in itself needs
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
So for faith to actually be faith, it
Mhm.
has to have some work.
Right.
Do I want Africa to be tribalist free?
Yeah.
Yes, but
Mhm.
is it tribalist free as of now? No. Are we even going towards it? No, I don't see anything
Mhm.
in that framework that works in that way.
Right. Do you regard this in terms of marriage or everything up to do with everything to do in regards to our nation and our governance? Because people are marrying each other from different tribes.
Yeah, a lot of more people marrying each other
Yeah.
from different tribes. Yeah, but are people voting people from different tribes?
Right. No.
Thank you.
No, not really.
So,
I'm gonna agree on that.
your bedroom. Sorry to tell you, your bedroom
the
does not affect
leaders
local
who have
politics.
been there like 20 years ago, they're still the ones who are there.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
who are they voted by?
Who are they voted by?
The people.
I don't
There
think
is no
young
leader.
people
There
are
is no
really
leader who was not
voting.
selected by the people. Forget that thing they tell you about the puppets. There is no leader who was not supported by the people.
Mm.
You saw what you saw what happened in Sri Lanka when they got tired with the president. They rushed into the president's house and they took part over his food.
Right.
Yeah. So when people are truly tired of a president, there is no resolve
Yeah.
that's going to stop them. So if your president or your leader or your
Mhm.
local council or your MP
Yeah.
or your MCA or your women rep is still in power, it's because you put him there.
Yeah.
So stop blaming Western people and
We're
actually
not
take
really
accountability
blaming
for
Western
it.
people. I think we should just basically unlearn and learn in regards to who we are and our identity as Africans. I'm going to read a short article here, and then there's a really good question for you here. It said that on the continent, young people were appointed ministers by the age of 35, such as in Mali, Cote d'Ivoire, or Botswana. However, these outliers do not constitute the critical mass necessary for change, which is true. Young leaders must have the courage out there. We must have the courage to apply for official position, and current officials should be willing to sit important tasks to young people's innovative ideas and influence.
Yes.
They're not innovating us. They're not giving us these positions
Yeah.
because they still want to be in the seat, but they're still doing the same thing as they were doing 10 years ago. That's the problem.
I do. Like I said, I do accept and agree with everything you say.
Yeah.
That young people should be in power.
Mhm.
A lot more young people, especially these days, because
Yeah.
of power.
Mhm.
But where I do beg to differ, and I'll say it again,
Yeah.
is the fact that a prerequisite, the fact that being young is being synonymous to being innovative.
Yeah.
I think a lot of our TikTokers are young, but you see what they're
Yeah.
doing in our communities too. So what exactly are you telling me
We
about
love
being
you,
young
girl.
and being? What about being young and being intelligent and stuff like
Right.
that? Yeah. So yes, he said someone had a question for me.
Yeah. Someone was asking, what is the guest opinion on Black Americans?
Whew. Had to put me on the spot.
Yeah.
I don't usually like being politically correct.
Yeah.
I think honesty is the best antidote to the chaos we have in the world today.
Yeah.
To say things as they are. What is my opinion on Black Americans? I wouldn't say I have a profound opinion because I've never lived with them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know. Everything I say is what has come true from the media
Right.
and what has been shown to me. And so, if based on what I get of the media is true, I think I have a perception that there are people
Mhm.
who are lost, understandably so, because they were stolen away from the continent in which they had their roots,
Mhm.
and they were taken by ships to this land they know nothing about,
Yeah.
and they had to find a way for themselves. And being the fact that they had the African DNA, which is known to survive and strive among the kind of hostilities
Yeah.
they find themselves, they made it out. I do have it. My problem is still the same problem in Africa. they are still getting the same black leaders we have here that are leading the population into whatever. We don't get now the leaders like Malcolm X and the other people who actually had good in the heart.
Right.
Now what we are pushing is who had the best rap verse and who has the best host and who implanted a diamond into their face with 26 baby mamas and everything, and we keep pushing this narrative. And you might say this narrative is a narrative of the conqueror to prove a certain idea of but we are letting it happen. We are buying these rap things, we are pushing this hip-hop culture as our culture, we are fighting white people in school who have braids, we have our priorities, they have their priorities misaligned. So there are a lot of things which I think they are getting I wouldn't say wrong, but I think there are a lot of things they could approach differently. That's my opinion of that.
Differently.
In
terms of
culture, the way they preach themselves. You know, the gang culture, which is what we get over here that they do have. Or I'm swinging, I'm blood, I'm creep, I'm whatever, and this and this and this. Oh, I'm swinging, I'm keeping it down for the block. I'm having my nines and my K9s and whatever that thing is, and preaching. You know, I understand as a people. They may have a reason why they go for it, but I think that culture is not going to take them to any place which is fruitful.
But some are actually trying to create an ecosystem in regards to what should be, like, who they are, their identity.
True.
Yeah.
True. So yeah, it comes back to my point. Like I said, everything I get is what comes from the media.
Right.
So you don't take my word with a pinch of salt, because those people making the change, we have not seen those. We haven't seen it in the popular culture.
Right.
Over here in Africa.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for that. It's Mr. Laslie here on Let's Pop, Redefining Africa. Thank you so much, guys, for joining in the conversation.
Send your questions.
Yeah, send questions if you have any questions.
And share the video.
And like and just share on all the socials and follow us on all the socials. Also, download our app on Google Store and download our website on blackheartradionetwork.com and also on YouTube. Thank you so much for the question that you're asking. I hope that answered your question. Jabba. I hope that's the name. I'm pronouncing it right. I'm not sure. It's Jibber Jabba or Jabber. But that's not African American culture. That's propaganda.
That's exactly what I said. Exactly what I said. I said based on what gets to me, I don't have any other source of information.
So
I have no source of information. That's the only source of information I have, which I don't trust. But I said based on that information, I don't think they're heading to the right place.
All right. I'm going to just finish an article that I was reading in regards to routing for the young people to have this information. Because even though these leaders who are still being voted for and they've been there for forever, years, and they're not doing anything, and the fact that you understand what's happening and you can create an ecosystem. We can all create an ecosystem in regards to teaching or learning and relearning about who we are as Africans and how we can better off and rebuild our African nation, right?
Yeah, true. I do.
It only starts with that.
Yeah, I do accept that the smallest spark can cause the biggest fire.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's just the unrealistic approach to it, which gets me a little bit worried. You understand? We need to be realistic and start fighting in the right places, which is the small places, like you said. Like for me, I do try to teach the younger ones after me of what being African is, being proud as African.
Yeah.
I have said to myself, and I'm saying it now on camera again, I'll never ever beg for an American visa.
Hey.
I'll never ever beg for a European visa.
Hey.
If I do have something to go do and they want to call me, they call me and do it. I will not go explain myself to the white man why I need to visit their land.
Yeah.
And so for me personally, this is my choice. Does it affect me in a way? Yes, it does. I'm a tech guy. If I was in the USA, I'll be earning so much money and like the other people, and I'll get incorporated to the system. But that's not who I am. I am African. I'm from the grasslands, which are part of what we call Bamenda, Cameroon.
Right.
So that is who I am, and no amount of millions in the USA is going to make me a different person. But not a lot of people can take that route.
It's true.
So I don't understand.
Yeah, that's a very deep personal decision.
Yes.
Yeah, and the fact that you're very passionate about being African is we need more people like you. We really do. And the fact that let's talk about your podcast, Stay Motivated podcast. You can start with that in regards to like teaching and raising young people in regards to their true identity.
Okay, so my podcast and my motto is stay motivated.
Motivated, yes.
The only reason I understand is every change without money is a waste of time.
Right.
Money is very, very important in any movement.
And this brings us back in the business sector.
In the business
regards
sector,
to redefining Africa.
So I do have a company which you know about. It's called Eneza,
Yeah.
a Swahili word for spread the message.
Spread the message.
And the aim of the company is to help Africans earn money by just sharing ads on their WhatsApp status.
Yeah.
So for me, I think it's the reason why I'm doing it is
Yeah.
is the little things I can do for us Africans to get, because any change without money is not change.
Yeah.
Like if you want to talk, the loudest voice and the voice heard in the room is a voice with money.
Right.
And you may choose to dispute and make a lot of noise on whatever you want to do, but the opinion of a rich man always counts better than that of a poor man. So we as Africans,
Right.
we need to get money.
Yes.
Yeah, we need to get money, and then only then we'll be able to say, hey, we want to be part of this conversation.
Right.
You understand? Like look at the Arab nations before in the 80s. Dubai was a desert.
Yeah.
They didn't have a
It is
conversation. They weren't included in global conversations.
Mhm.
They were not fighting and boxing fights going over there. No, they were not in the conversation. The only reason why people fly to Dubai today is because they have money and they have joined their conversation.
Right.
So that's why I'm very big on money. I'm very big on economic change. I
Right.
think it's the only change that actually makes any impact on the ground.
Okay.
Yep. And also, I'll be moving to, just to put it out there, I'll be moving to Eswatini for a while, and I'm going there over because we're building this great payment solution for the people in Africa.
Right.
And like I said, it's a small thing to do. For me, it's all about money.
Yes.
If it's not money
But
about
I
it,
said that earlier. You're like, no, we cannot just really do it like that. Because
Yeah.
I believe in creating like a community, like even in regards to like Black Heart Fire Radio Network. It's all about creating an ecosystem and basically spreading the message, and also as Keith said, creating organization. If we create organization, change is going to happen. More people understand their true identity as Africans and how we can bring change in regards to who we are, and also being one as a nation, as a continent. If that will be possible, I think it will be. I have faith. I have faith in Africa.
There's a reason why you don't hear argument in banks. Because everyone there has money. They don't shout.
Right.
You understand? So for us to be one, we need to be rich. We need to eat. I don't like the shortcuts we take around the whole issue of us saying that no, it's a spiritual and mental thing. No, it's a hunger thing.
No, I agree with you with that basically, but still, do you believe we can? Because everything is being digitalized right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, like digital market is growing and it's making money, and I believe we can start with that also.
So yeah, so we focus by redirecting some of that money to us, which is what I'm doing with Eneza. Redirecting some of that money, which is people, they use us for a product.
Yeah.
With Eneza, I'm all about bringing the money back into Africa. Keeping the money in Africa. We need to start. We need to start from there. I've said any change without money is not change.
It's so true.
You understand? If a community is poor, they won't join the conversations.
I agree with you.
Yeah, they won't join the conversation. Look in the 1960s when Africa just got independent. When Mike Tyson was going to fight him and the Holyfield, where were they fighting? In Zaire, in Africa. Because Africa had money then. Africa was, in a way, could be included into the conversations.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
Then when an African president, like the president of Cameroon, Amadou Ahidjo, when he flew to the USA, he was welcomed by the president at the airport. He was not in a bus
Right.
with his colleagues driving to the funeral.
Yeah.
It's because then there was economic development in a certain way.
Right.
So we're included in the conversation, and then we lost it, and now we're out of the conversation. So for us to get into that conversation, everything we are saying about education, get money. How do we funnel money into Africa? How do we make sure Africans start eating?
But there's money in Africa, right?
There is money in Africa. How do we make sure the money stays in Africa? Should be the way to say it.
Yeah.
How do we make sure the money stays in Africa? That is it. If the money doesn't stay here, we will always be slaves and keep on listening.
That is so true. That is so true. So that was Laslie George Jr., our guest today on Let's Pop, Redefining Africa on the business sector. Has been a really great conversation. Okay, any comments in regards to keep it up? Thank you so much, General Mosquito. Thank you so much, Black Heart Fire, for joining in. David Jabber, thank you so much. Demonstrate an ecosystem that creates a circular economy for the Black community.
Yes.
Yes. We should all create an ecosystem in regards to anything that we're doing. And with that, the small ecosystem in different corners, it becomes global, and we are all educated, as you said, on money, fast, and
Money.
also how we can keep money in
Money is the
Africa.
most important. Without
Yes.
money, it's not a conversation.
And also identity, understanding our roots as Africans.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
so one thing. So I lived a lot of my life, my 20s in Asia. I visited Malaysia, Thailand, Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar.
Yeah.
I visited all these countries, and some of which are very well to do, some of which are relatively poor.
Right.
Quite prosperous countries.
Mhm.
I would say, example Singapore
Mhm.
and everything. And then I realized the most important thing in the conversation was money. It was not even identity,
Right.
because there is a way rich people argue. There is a way rich people have conversations.
Right.
It's different from how poor people have conversations.
Yeah.
We resort to violence,
Mhm.
right? Rich
Yeah.
people have intellectual conversations.
Yeah.
And you might hate me for it or whatever, but we are poor, not because we don't have the resources to be rich, but as it stands, what is the disposable income? Top of the 4 biggest slums in the world are in Africa. Not in South America, not in Asia.
Right.
Africa. There is only one in Pakistan.
Right.
The first being Kibera, right next to us, right here. In Kenya, another one being in Somalia,
Yeah.
and then there's another one in some other country. All in Africa. But why Africa?
Why Africa?
Why Africa?
Yeah.
Why Africa? Because the money is not there.
Why Africa, guys?
Yeah, we need to get money.
Yeah.
We need to get money. Once we get money, we'll join this conversation again. We need to make sure our money stays here.
Yeah.
When our money stays here and we get rich, even forget about the leaders. The
Yeah.
reason why, like I was in Malaysia and there was a scandal about the prime minister stealing $700 million, which was some of the money was used for the shooting of the Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah.
Right? Was the average Malaysian suffering because of that money stolen? No. Malaysia was still moving. People were getting rich. People were making. So it's not even about the leaders. It's about, first of all, how do we get money to everyone's hand?
Right.
How do we make sure we get away from this scarcity mentality into a mentality of abundance, which we are?
Yeah.
There's a lot of food in Africa where we go hungry.
Yeah.
There's a lot of everything. There's gold, there's diamond, there's cobalt, there is oil. You name it. There's uranium.
Everything.
There's everything. So we need to go and get money, sell these things, and then stay with the money. Only then we can have a conversation.
Alrighty.
Yes.
That was us. Let's pop with Ewoton and my guest for today, Laslie. And the topic of the day is rebuilding Africa and redefining who we are,
Yes.
and how we can be able to keep money in Africa because the money is here, and also learning and unlearning who we are as Africans, because I think that's our true identity. I still run for the identity factor. Honestly, I still do. Yeah, and the fact that the reason is actually shout out to Keith on creating an ecosystem, Black Hot Fire Radio Network. It starts with that.
Yeah.
Because you're learning so many things here.
I do commend initiatives like this.
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest things is, like it or not, for Africa to be great, we need to bring our brothers back.
Yes.
Our brothers in the diaspora,
Yeah.
wherever they are, we have been scattered all over the world,
Yeah.
like scared children, which we
Right.
were. We need to come back as a people, come back together and think of where we got it wrong.
Yeah.
And this idea of you being Black American and you being African, it's one of the funniest things I told you. We're doing our conversations.
Right.
It's like, if you're truly American, then you wouldn't have to assert it.
Right.
The fact you have to repeat to us every time that you're American means deep line in you, you know you're not American. Because you wouldn't have to tell us every time.
Right.
A king doesn't have to tell me he's king and repeat to me every afternoon, evening, that he's king. If he was
Right.
truly king,
Right.
he wouldn't have to repeat it. So yeah, we have to come together as a people, bring back our people wherever they are. Is it in Brazil? Is it wherever they find themselves? Is it in Haiti? Is it in the Americas? Is it in USA? Wherever we find our people, we need to come back to the motherland and build a motherland from ground up. And the people live in Africa, our talents, the intelligent ones, getting good jobs.
Yes.
We need to come back. We
Yeah.
need to understand. You only can work for the white man as much as you can. At the end of the day, you will still be African. At the end of the day, if a wallet gets missing, everybody in the room will look up to you
Right.
and think you stole the wallet. At the end of the day, if we walk into an airport, they will single me out for questioning.
Yeah.
So if we don't solve these problems, it's a problem that's going to affect all of us. I mean, each and every African, be it Black American, Brazilian American, or whatever it is, as long as you got this tint of my color, it's going to affect all of us. So we need to come back together, come as a people, and solve our problems.
Right. That was it. with amazing guest Laslie George Jr., his last words. And also from me, Ewoton, let's pop redefining Africa and understanding who we are. And
Any
also,
more comments before we leave?
any more comments? We do have comments here from listening from Nairobi, Kasarani. The voice is down. I'm so sorry about that. I hope it's better right now. Jibra Java 809 says rich people plan silently how to unalive you, then they argue.
Good.
And live around them. And live around them. They'll ruin you even after death.
Yes.
I've learned a lot from Keith and the Black Hot Fire family. Me too. I've learned a lot from Black Hot Fire Radio family and all routing for understanding our identity as Africans
Yes.
and relearning and learning who we are.
True.
And the power that we have as Africans, like we're the gods and the goddesses, they're the kings and queens of this land. Yeah? Africa forever. So thank you so much for everybody joining in on the comment. We really appreciate you. Please tune in on Monday on Let's Pop from 2 to 3. We'll have amazing guests. I can say, where does he see Africa in the next 20 to 30 years? The last question before we close.
Where do I see Africa in the next 20 to 30 years? I think Africa is finally going to find out what it is. I think give it 10 years from now, not now, we're going to realize that the pressure is going to get on us, realize we are the beggars of the world, and we're going to figure that out. I don't know how it's going to turn, because as much as Africans are planning, the powers that be against us are also planning to disrupt us. So I don't know what's going to happen, but I know there's going to be a big revolution in Africa. I know it's either going to be a great way in the part of Africa, or it's gonna be very catastrophic, because if they can't change you, they'll kill you. So let's hope it goes well. And Africa will always be Africa.
Yes.
I love Africa. Keep being African.
Yes. That was it from Let's Pop. Your amazing host here, your lovely Ewoton and
Laslie.
Thank you so much. Let's tune in on Monday, same time, 2 to 3 p.m. on Let's Pop, redefining Africa. Here on Black Hot Fire Radio. Remember to download our app on Google Store and also stream on www.blackhotfirenetwork.com. Follow us on TikTok and all the social media. Thank you. Have a great weekend. Remember, it's a great day to be alive. You matter and you have a purpose. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Growing a business is hard. Growing